Hi, my name is Kimberly. This is my video on evolution. Evolution is about changes in populations, species, or groups of species. To prove that evolution is truly happening, there are 5 ways: paleontology, biogeography, embryology, comparative anatomy, and molecular biology. First up, paleontology. It is the study of fossils. Depending on where the fossils are located, it can tell you how old it is. Biogeography is the geographical distribution of species, like where it's located. Is it in Africa, India, Antarctica, etc., etc. As for embryology, it shows the similar stages in development among related species. An example would be the tail. All 5 of these species have a tail in their earliest stages. 2 more proofs of evolution are comparative analogy and molecular biology. Comparative analogy, they have homologous structures, which are body parts that resemble one another in different species because of common ancestry, such as the bat wing, the mouse forelimb, and the human arm. All the bone structures are similar. Even though they have different lengths, they are still the same. Of course, there's also vestigial structures. In the whale, there's a pelvis bone that's not showing anymore, but it's still there. Analogous structures are basically the body parts that resemble one another in different species, but not because of common ancestry, but because they actually had to adapt to similar environments, such as the bat wing, the butterfly wing, and the bird wing. As for molecular biology, it examines the nucleotide and amino acid sequence of DNA and proteins of different species, as shown in this picture. Next up are the patterns of evolution. There are 4 different kinds: divergent, convergent, parallel, and coevolution. Divergent is when 2 or more species that originate from a common ancestor and become increasingly different over time. Convergent evolution is when 2 unrelated species share similar traits, not because of common ancestry, but rather because they adapted to a similar environment. As for parallel evolution, 2 related species that have made similar evolutionary changes after diverging from a common ancestor. Lastly is coevolution, the evolution of one species in response to the new adaptations that appear in another species. Here are the examples of divergent, parallel, and convergent. Divergent, you can see they have similar ancestor, and then their traits differs later on. Parallel, they also have similar ancestors, and they develop the similar traits. And convergent, they actually have 2 different ancestors, but then they have 2 similar traits. And this is an example of coevolution. As you can see here, as for the right, you can see that it's kind of like the story where one is too hot, one is too cold, and one is just right situation. Here you can see the flower is too small for the insect. Here the insect's mouthpiece is a little bit smaller than the flower itself. And lastly, this is the perfect fit for the insect and the flower. And next up is, oh, wait, look at the time. Ta-ta!